Hi there, and welcome to part 2 of my seaside mock. I'd like to start off with an apology. If you're coming from part 1, I do apologize for the quality of the video. It was my very first video and sort of done on a whim because I have kind of been toying with the idea of starting a YouTube channel, so I was just like, let's just get a video out there and see where things go. So I will strive to improve video quality, sound quality, and editing just to try to make my videos a little bit more enjoyable to watch. So with that out of the way, here is the finished, for now, seaside mock. I talked about in my last video that I needed some more plates and tiles, which I did get my order in, was able to finish tiling all of the water. What I did wind up changing, I had mentioned in the first video that I used the white cheese slopes for the white caps. But I wound up finding this creator called Brickwater Bay, and I'll link to his account, his Instagram account below. And he uses only the trans clear cheese slopes to depict waves, and I thought that looked a lot better, so I wound up taking the white ones out and switching back to clear, and I think that looks a lot cleaner. And then I did wind up finishing my half base plate mills, 16 by 32, and I will link down below a guide for creating mills plates that I found really helpful, and that's what I used to create this mills plate. And I placed the Bricklink designer program Snack Shack on this plate. And this set was designed by DistractedBldr, and I did try to look up to see if he had any a YouTube or Instagram account, and I couldn't find him. Otherwise I would have linked him below just to give him credit for an adorable little design here. I've always really liked Airstream trailers. My husband and I have a regular travel trailer, but we always kind of, do a double take when we see an Airstream because they are so iconic. So I really enjoy this set for that reason. And I did make some changes to the interior. There was a really cute little fryer in here, and I changed it out to just a stovetop and oven because my Snack Shack has turned into a lobster roll stand. And then to the exterior, I added this, I don't know if it's cute or if it's an abomination, but I don't have many red pieces, and I did the best I could trying to create a lobster. And like I stated, I did change this to a lobster roll stand. And if you ever visit a coastal Maine town, we've been up to Acadia a couple of times, and Bar Harbor, you'll find lobster rolls from all the way from like food trucks and roadside stands to super fancy restaurants. And also on the menu you'll find blueberry soda, which is delicious, made from fresh blueberries. And then for dessert in Maine, you have to have a whoopie pie, which is just chocolate and whipped cream in the middle. That's about it for changes to the Snack Shack. I just have the cook in here bringing in some fresh lobsters, and then behind that I did create a little bit of a dune area, just built that up with some blocks and covered it in the plates, and then added some vegetation so it looks like a little bit of a scrub. We still have one seashell collector, however her dad is now metal detecting and her mom has joined in. She's over here feeding the seagulls. And I also added another family enjoying the lobster rolls with their golden retriever. And did try to break up the transition from the wet to dry sand a little bit more to make it look not so sterile. And then moving on to the harbor master's office again. I failed to mention in the first video the obvious change I made to the set was I removed the sea life that is built under it, which is really cool if you're just gonna show this as a standalone display. But I'll certainly use those pieces somewhere else down the line. Unfortunately, they just didn't work out with what I was doing here. I also wanted to state that the designer of this set is Rich Herbert. He also built the Mad Scientist Laboratory that I featured in my top picks for the Bricklink Designer Program Series 9, and he does have a YouTube channel, so I'll link him down below so you can follow his designs and support him. The other modifications I made to this set include taking about 2 levels off of the gas pump to make that more minifigure scale. I also added another fisherman with a toolbox, some flippers next to the oxygen tanks, and then also a custom printed Maine flag from Studbee since this has now become a Maine fishing village and not just a generic New England fishing village. I also added another fisherman over here, and I sourced both of their torsos and legs off of Bricklink. And then lastly, I thought it would be appropriate to add a bald eagle, so I got this retired bald eagle off of Bricklink as well. I did change the underwater photographer to a spear fisherman, so he's breaking the surface with his catch. And I did wind up changing the minifigures on the city sailboat to a retired couple. I did give them a dressed up interior with some food for a picnic they're going to have out on the ocean. I did tile the bottom of the boat. I added some wood printed tiles for the seat to dress it up again, and then took off the railings and then just added white tiling again, just to dress up the boat to make it look a little bit more fancy. I do have it sitting here on the plates. Now, if I had made a Mills plate out of this, I could probably sit it down lower to make it a little more authentic, but it sits in there just fine. And I did the same with this little boat here. It's sitting on the plates with tiles around it just to make it look like it might be sitting in the water. And I changed her to throwing a rope to this guy up here. I forgot to mention, just to make it look a little bit more dynamic. And for the lighthouse, not really any additional changes other than I added some of the gray cheese slopes to some of the open studs that are on the set, just to kind of clean that up a little bit, but that's pretty much remained unchanged. And I believe that's everything new that I've added. As I mentioned in my first video, I do want to eventually add the old fishing store. I think another great set to add would be the Bricklink Designer Program Great Fishing Boat. I think this was released in 2021, so we'll have to see what kind of funds I have to afford this one. I think it would be a great addition. I would change it to, they do have a little crab trap here, but I would change it to a lobster boat. And I did find a really cool and simple lobster trap build, which I'll link below to give credit to the creator, the Brick Consultant. I think that would be really cute to add to that set. Would also consider adding the new Jaws set. I think it's a beautiful set. It's a great brick-built shark. Even though the movie took place in New York and I'm trying to do Maine, I can just pretend that they chase the shark all the way up to Maine waters. But I think that would be a cool addition, and it's nice that it's not retired, so it's slightly more affordable. But that's everything. I'm really happy with how it turned out. It was a great challenge. I had a lot of fun putting it together. Thank you again for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I always open to suggestions down in the comments, but I just do really appreciate you guys being here. Thanks so much.